The views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
Hello and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jamison Rabbit, and the man seated with me this week, you give him a name, he's going to pronounce it. His name is Mike Roth.
I'm going to pronounce it, yes.
Did I pronounce that right?
You did, but I don't pronounce it right.
Well, I didn't say that you were going to pronounce it correctly.
No.
I just said you'll pronounce it.
I think more accurately, my mouth opens and sounds come out. You know that's true.
Buckle up, kids. Let's see where we go here. Sir, this week we got a few movies to discuss as well as another music biopic. And I'm going to get us started with a film that I did a little VOD on. One of these $20 rental films.
That was a huge cost.
It was.
I hope it's a masterpiece.
Masterpiece, they all are. So I'm going to talk about Barb and Star. Go to the Vista Del Mar, or as they say it, Barb and Star. This is from director Josh Greenbaum. Stars Kristen Wiig as Star and Annie Mumolo as Barb. Kristen Wiig also stars as
how you got the accents.
Yeah.
That's good.
Kristen Wiig also stars as the albino villain character in this movie. This is a movie, Mike, you and I, we saw a trailer for this movie 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
2019, the trailer came out for this, featured a little Asian boy delivering papers, lip-syncing to some music.
I must have been so excited I forgot.
Right. Barb and Star are lifelong friends. They're kind of completely typical middle-aged Midwestern women. They do everything together, and they play it safe in life. They live together. They work at a furniture store together. And everything's just normal until they lose their shared job at said furniture store and decide to do something wild. And they go, well, you guessed it, to the Vista Del Mar Resort in Florida. Meanwhile, there's a side story with this villainous mystery woman. Think Dr. Evil type mystery woman. Who's created a weapon that will draw mosquitoes and make the mosquitoes lethal to people. One hit from a mosquito and you're dead. Her right-hand man is this young Asian boy, Yo-Yo, played by Ren Doi. And she also has Edgar, played by Jamie Dornan. You know him from the 50 Shades franchise. He's Mr. Grey. And they're going to implement this diabolical plan upon the people of Vista Del Mar, and you won't find out why they're doing this until the final act of the movie.
Is it a huge part of the movie? Because I just watched the that scene.
Yeah.
I didn't see any albino evil person.
Yeah, she's hidden behind a lot of stuff normally. She's all in white, big glasses on. She's got a big black wig.
All right.
The ladies kind of are enjoying all the luxuries of the resort in their culottes. And they both fall for this mysterious man, Edgar. And there's this love triangle where each lady doesn't want the other one to know that she's fallen for Edgar. And there's this secret agent who's not secret at all, played by Damon Wayans Jr., who is also he's terrible at his job because he's not secret about being an agent. Which was pretty funny. There's also, for those, if anyone knows who Richard Cheese is, a great musician. He has a few scenes in this where he's singing great. Yeah, he's the lounge act in the Vista Del Mar. I loved it every time.
Nice.
He's so good. And it's a comedy that it goes for every joke. And, it doesn't always land, but it had me laughing pretty frequently, which really surprised me, actually, because it's part like Lonely Island Boys.
Yeah.
And kind of part This Is the End. And then kind of a little Austin Powers to it,
All right.
And there's a lot going on. It's a very absurd comedy, and the jokes really play on the eager, earnest nature of these ladies. And there's song and dance numbers. I know you like that. There's, I believe, 2 song and dance numbers in here. It's just very strange and very original and way better than I was expecting it to be. Even when I saw that trailer 2 years ago, I was like, well, this looks kind of dumb.
Yeah. It's based on an SNL skit, isn't
No,
it?
it isn't. No, it's just
Okay.
them.
It's just them.
Yeah,
All right.
and yeah, it's really weird in parts, like very strange what's going on.
Okay.
But for the most part, it worked for me. I enjoyed it.
I had zero want to watch this.
Yeah.
But after listening to you,
Yeah.
I am now curious enough, not $20
No.
curious.
No.
But once
Wait.
it streams free,
Exactly.
I'm going for it.
When you see this thing showing up on Netflix, go ahead and click on it. I think you'll enjoy it. And so I give Barb and Star go to the Vista Del Mar. Let's see what Mara says. I gave it 3.5 stars.
Wow.
It's enjoyable. It's a fun comedy.
That's
Part
really
of it
good.
too, I think, is we have been watching a lot of dull, really dark movies and such.
Yeah.
Not a lot of laughs lately.
I gave Mulan, 5-star?
I think so.
Yeah. And a lot of that, I'm sure, it was a great movie. It was beautiful. A lot of that, I'm sure, was because it's been such a depressing year. I needed something just uplifting and fun.
Yeah.
So bad.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. I
The
might
next
spend $20 on this. I might.
I'm not going to spend your money for you. The next movie we have is a film called I Care a Lot from director Jay Blakinson. Stars Rosamund Pike as a lady named Marla Grayson. Marla is a horrible person, a crooked legal guardian who preys on seniors and drains their life savings, takes their possessions and their properties. And she will, even be declared a legal guardian over people who she's never met and don't need a legal guardian. Mm-hmm. And that happens in this movie because all she really needs is a crooked doctor to join her and convince a judge that this so-and-so needs a guardian. They're a danger. And she does that in this film and sinks her fangs into Dianne Wiest's character, Jennifer Peterson. She tries pulling a scam on this lady and has no expectations that this sweet old lady is going to fight back. And that's where things start to go haywire. Mm-hmm. She has Jennifer Peterson committed, begins draining her of her money and everything. And when she discovers that, this old lady's got a bunch of diamonds in a security box. Here we go. And we get inklings that this old lady here isn't who we think she is. Enter a Russian mobster who has a certain interest in freeing her. Russian mobster played by Peter Dinklage.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was fantastic.
Is great. And it kind of becomes a battle between them. Marla and her partner, Fran, played by Elsa Gonzalez, they're pretty nefarious. And this movie's odd because it goes like from darkly funny, like Peter Dinklage has an assistant who I thought was pretty hilarious, Alexei. I thought he was pretty funny in parts when he's trying to rescue Dianne Wiest's character.
I liked the characters. The characters were actually very fantastic.
Yeah.
Whether I liked them or not, the characters themselves were performed really well.
Right. There's a comedy-ish element to it, and then at other moments, you get whiplash because it gets very dark and serious, and out of nowhere.
I feel like the comedy kind of continues just because of the quirkiness of the characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always been dark. Your main character, Marla Grayson, she is extremely hated.
She's very unlikable.
Not in the movie, but as a viewer, you will hate her. Worse than the Russian mob.
Yeah, she'll have you rooting for the Russian mobster who kills people.
Yeah, that's their job to kill people, but you're like, at least
he's a sympathetic character.
Yeah, he's a sympathetic character, and you want Marla to have the whole world just crash around her and watch her hopefully be tortured.
Right.
Didn't really.
Well, and that's kind of the thing. I think Rosamund Pike is perfect in this. She's kind of revisiting her Gone Girl persona of the really cold, calculated person.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of it's interesting. I didn't love there was a part in this movie where she basically turned into a supervillain. Mm-hmm. Where it went from, this lady's nefarious, she's pretty evil, to now she's the Joker.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, that felt off to me in this movie. Took it out of some sort of realism. But yeah, it's her and her partner Fran. I wanted they almost tried to give them a redemption at one point. And I was like, no, I don't. They don't. They deserve pain and a comeuppance, but not redemption because they're horrible people.
And they definitely don't deserve an acceleration where they are doing better. Because throughout the whole movie, these people, they prey on old people, put them in pretty much slavery and torture.
Yeah.
It cannot happen because by law, you have to have 2 doctors. Suggests that there's medical
all you need
problems.
is 2 doctors on your payroll.
I believe they can't work together. I don't think this one's really set up in a fictional society, but you felt like this could happen, and that made me even more angry where I looked it up. And I found out legally how this could happen. I like this movie, but I hated it at the same time.
I totally understand that.
And I can't really place a good number on this at all.
Like I like you had said, I really liked the performances, kind of to the person.
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage was great in this. I liked how Dianne Wiest, her character, she would just give little glimpses of who she really was in this role. Where it's like, oh no, and she's like, get them, boys. You know, like, yeah, all right. I like them, but I felt like the longer the film went on, the less interested it was, and I don't know, like the less. I felt like probably around the point where they tried to give them some sort of redemption was the point where I was like, okay, I'm kind of checking out on this.
I thought the pacing was good. I liked how it went, how the pace it was going, and I was interested the entire time. But what was happening, I did not want to happen.
No.
And that's where not my interest went down, but my anger went up.
But does that mean that it's an effective movie, though? I mean, that's probably what the intention was, right? To anger the blood up with these people.
It could be, but at the same time, if you are being paid to entertain someone, you don't want them walking away going, I will never see this again. I
feel like I've seen a couple of those recently.
Because
respect to it. Okay, I understand.
People are paying their money for these people to make them think or something, not to just walk away with feelings.
Who's the good guy in this movie?
It would have to be the Russian mob, and it's not.
But no, they can't be. They're killers.
Dianne Wiest?
No, she's also.
She was just a mother.
Like
we have no idea if she was a killer. She was just a mother of killers.
She was Ned Jarrett's mama in White Heat. Like, she was like, yeah, my son is a mobster. Watch out.
Not even Judge Lomax, who is the nicest guy. He's also not nice through complacency. He's just incompetent.
Incompetent as nobody was good in this movie.
No, but we could all agree there was people you hated more.
Right.
Yes.
The lesser of the evils. I love it when you got to choose lesser of 2 evils. Nothing goes wrong when that happens. Mike, what did you give I Care a Lot?
I gave it a 2.5. I think they did some good things, but at the same time, I didn't like what happened. So there. 2.5.
Mike's infuriated. I gave it a 3. Like, I enjoyed the performances, and I'll give props to the performances. And they did kind of have me hooked in with the dark comedy throughout. Peter Dinklage is worth points on his own.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not something you need to rush out to watch.
I like his physical roles. He's like doing.
I love he's doing like the Iron Cross on the rings.
Yeah.
That's really good. Anyways, let's move on to a movie that is playing both in theaters and streaming right now.
Yeah, this is a very interesting film, Nomadland, directed by Chloe Zhao. Frances McDormand, she plays Fern. She had a interesting life. She settled down with her husband in a rural town in Nevada making sheetrock, and the sheetrock business goes under, and her husband passes on, and she's a nomad. She goes from place to place where there's a job, pick up a job, lives in her van, and unlike a lot of movies where they show someone who falls from a certain status in life, she does not give off the air that she has been lesser. Her life is not lesser. She is out there, she is struggling, but at the same time, she's not a victim. And there's not much of a plot. It's just a voyeuristic look at homelessness.
Yeah, it's more of a character study on these nomads.
Yeah.
Who aren't homeless, she'll say.
Yeah.
They're houseless.
They're houseless.
They have homes.
And it's a very interesting look at what a lot of people would say would be a miserable experience. But you find out, and another thing that was really cool about this movie, Frances McDormand and David Strathairn is the only real actors. Right. Everybody else in this is actual nomads, and they are portraying their own character, which I thought was fantastic, because you think they're actors, but it's either the Nomads
I was
are
actually
great
impressed
actors
when I
or
found that out.
Frances McDormand is such a fantastic actress. They blended
I
together.
think there was a great
nicely.
comfort level because the way they shot this, she lived in her van and they
Mm-hmm.
traveled around the country to these different locations
Yeah.
that they travel, and she was living in the van like with these people. So I think it brought this comfort level where she's like, I'm not better than you guys. Let's do this. I'm this character, and she really melded in. And so the making of that movie I thought was really interesting,
Yeah.
and how they shot it. And I appreciate that it shows this community. She discovers this community and that they help each other out and they bond. And you see that Fern's the type of lady who, she doesn't need people helping her, but she's always ready to help other people. And you
Yeah.
see in her interactions with people that she just runs into. And they're so excited to see her, and she's very real. And Frances McDormand she's so authentic in this, right? I mean, she just feels
Well, that's
natural.
the cool thing is, she feels real and everybody is real.
Right.
So
And
you
it
don't
works beautifully.
see that line where things are blurred.
Yep.
It feels actual, very actual.
And you see these people that are kind of pushed out to the edges of society, some by choice. They all have different reasons why they're there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't judge them. And I thought that was really interesting because a lot of times in this type of movie, you would demonize the other side then.
Yeah.
You'd say, oh, look, this is the people, the people that own the plant or whatever are the reason for these people, and they're awful. And it doesn't do that. It is just a character study. It doesn't like manufacture villains in this or anything like that. It's just, look at this. These are what these people do. They travel around. We're going to show beautiful locations. And Fern is, kind of working on giving up her past. She's holding on to a lot of past memories. And it's kind of at the point in the movie where she gives those up. She realizes, now I'm free. I can live this life totally free.
In a way, they do demonize for a little bit Amazon, but that's it. They can
demonize themselves.
Yeah.
If anyone's surprised by what Amazon is a corporation,
True. But
this movie shouldn't be the one to open your eyes.
They don't dwell on it. It's just
But
a
it's
little
a but it's
piece
a
where
true
you're like,
thing. I
oh.
mean, these Amazon during the holidays sets up these nomad facilities.
Yeah.
And sets up,
pays them pretty poorly,
pays them
and
poorly.
kicks them right out
Exactly.
when they're done.
Yeah, I just think this was a beautiful character study.
Yeah.
And, just kind of meeting all these people and watching Fern kind of discover the strength and the beauty in herself.
Mhm.
And even when she and David Strathairn, he's got a little thing for her.
Yeah.
And you think it's going one way, and she's like, I don't need that.
And I like that too.
Yeah,
I like how
great,
it didn't
right?
take the
I
typical.
thought
movie.
I thought I knew where the conclusion was, and
Yeah.
at the end of the movie, it didn't end up there. And
No.
I like that a lot.
Which made Fern's character even more true, because everything she was saying the entire time is actually her, and she's not changing. And
Right.
I love that. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, and and I like to look at these people. I mean, most of the people in this nomad community are aging,
Yeah.
facing their mortality.
Mm-hmm.
Fern is facing her mortality, and watching people that she's connected with
Uh-huh.
kind of deal with that, and how these people come together to help each other out.
Well, there is a lot of young nomads, tons of them. I mean, we
Right, but
know
the ones
from
that we're
being
the
here,
ones in this community that we're with
Yeah.
are all
you had one
fairly
young guy
aged.
that was kind of got close, but
Yeah.
he wasn't part of the group.
right. Yeah, exactly. And you get to see that Fern's lived a life, and so I'll say I saw this movie in the theater a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Watched that. Then it came out streaming on Hulu
Uh-huh.
the following Friday. I watched it, and then over the weekend I watched it again. I watched this movie 3 times in the last 2 weeks.
You really like this movie.
I really enjoy this movie because it feels authentic.
Do you feel, and this is how I feel, since
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about feelings, do you feel like this is a very big contender for Best Director?
I think it's going to be one of the main contenders for all of the main awards. I think
Yeah.
Frances McDormand is going to be, again, a big
I think so, too.
big shot. I think that this picture is going to be on the short list for Best Picture nominees and for Best Director.
Yeah, I believe that, too.
Yeah.
I think they took a really bold, unique...
And it's great because there's no special effects.
No.
There's no big twists and turns. There's no mustache twirling villains.
Uh-uh.
It's just watching people and learning a little something. It's more documentary than narrative film in a way.
And that is where my score kind of hedged from perfect,
Mhm.
is because I felt like I was more of a voyeur than in watching a story.
Sure. Nothing wrong with that.
That's nothing wrong with it, but it didn't give me that I'm watching a movie feel.
Okay. Well, let's see what your score is. Nomadland,
Give
sir.
it a 4. It is a very shaky 4. It could have been a 4.5, but I landed on 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Nearly perfect. It's a really well done, well made movie. I haven't given it a 5-star yet this in 2020 or 2021.
You haven't?
Nobody
in
got
a year?
Nobody got a 5 out of me.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I think I got 2 out of that.
I think I'm getting stingy on those 5s.
Maybe.
But Nomadland is about as good as I've seen in a while, so it's very enjoyable. And right now, it's playing in theaters and also streaming on Hulu.
You know, you are also very stingy with the zeros.
Yeah,
I don't think
that's true.
You don't have zeros very often. I think that's very
play to the middle.
accurate.
All right, sir. Let's take a moment here to take a look back for our movie throwback segment. Of course, we're still continuing our music biopic series. And this week, we're going to talk about a legendary band. What do we do?
We have The Doors. This is 1991, directed by Oliver Stone. This was a huge movie back then. Val Kilmer played Jim Morrison. He did such a good job that even like members of The Doors, the surviving members, they had a hard time trying to figure out which one was Val Kilmer and which one was Jim Morrison when it comes down to singing and stuff. We also have Meg Ryan playing Pamela Corson. This was a fantastic movie. It pretty much traces Jim's rise from stardom all the way to his death in Paris, France. When I saw this, I was moved so much, I bought every CD by The Doors. I read a thick book. It had to have been at least 300, 400
I was the same
pages.
way. This movie was kind of my introduction to them.
Yeah.
And I did a deep dive into The Doors for several years after this.
It was fantastic.
Became obsessed with them. I bought the soundtrack to this, and then I went out and bought other CDs of theirs.
I had everything. I even had a van. It wasn't a great van, so I could do anything I want. And I had all my friends key their names in it because no one has the opportunity to really key a car without getting in trouble. And I wrote like poems from Jim Morrison.
The Lizard King himself.
Yeah, on the side of my van. And I thought it was quite poetic watching it rust until the brakes gave out and went through a red light.
Yeah, and this is just, it's a really good movie. You know, just the whole story of this hugely influential 1960s band. And most, Jim Morrison, and kind of following him in a short life. 27, he's dead.
Yeah.
And the rise and fall, the true Hollywood story of a rock star we've seen play out so many times. And it does a great job of recreating the 60s and all the big moments of Morrison's career, from creating songs to his famous scandals that he had, and also the relationship with his wife. And, that wasn't a smooth ride.
No.
And he had affairs and tested his relationship. And for Oliver Stone, I think this is probably his most... he's made several movies about the 1960s, right?
Yeah.
Lots of movies about the 1960s.
Yes.
I think a half dozen movies at least about the 1960s.
Yeah.
I think this is his most grounded movie about that era that doesn't delve into odd conspiracy theories or make insane characters. He kind of played it pretty straight in this movie. Really interesting casting. Kyle MacLachlan as Ray Manzarek, I really liked.
He had Jim Morrison. He didn't need any more insane characters.
Right. I mean, it's still almost unbelievable. But, and Val Kilmer, really, this was the movie that really got him red hot for the next few years.
Yeah.
He'd been Iceman. That had been a few years previous to this. And he was kind of just out there doing his thing. Didn't have a lot of big movies. He did The Doors. Suddenly, he does True Romance the next year. He does Tombstone. He's Doc Holliday. And then he becomes Batman. All within a 3-year period.
See, he had me at Willow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a full decade before this almost.
Yeah,
I
love Willow.
And so there'd been like a 5-year period where Val Kilmer wasn't like no one's talking about Val Kilmer leading man. And then this movie got him white hot, and then he burned it all to the ground eventually. But
and we've seen him recently, and he didn't.
He's had health problems.
Yeah.
But this was the beginning of the heights of one Mr. Val Kilmer. So I really enjoy The Doors quite a bit. You do too.
Yeah.
Too. If you haven't seen The Doors, we both highly recommend checking it out. It still holds up.
Yeah.
Probably because it's not dated, because it's it's about the 60s.
Most of these biopics really hold up.
Yeah, that's nice. So check out The Doors. Let's see, sir, coming soon. Oh, buddy. Let's take a look ahead at the weekend of March 5th. Now, I gave you a little heads up. There's a lot of movies
Do
coming
we
out
have
that
enough time for
weekend.
this?
I've saved enough time, I hope, to get through all this. March 5th, there's a lot, and I didn't even put them all in here because we can't talk about 10 movies.
No.
But March 5th, on Amazon Prime, we have a movie that has been 33 years in the making. Coming to America 2 is coming out on your streaming platform. I know we talked about this time last year because it was supposed to be out in 2020.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy's back, Arsenio's back, the whole gang.
I think this was on my top 10.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Over on Netflix, we have a movie called Moxie, which is directed by Amy Poehler, about a shy 16-year-old girl who's fed up with the toxic status quo of high school. She prints a zine that sparks a revolution in her high school. So that sounds interesting. Over on Hulu, we have a movie called Boss Level. Stars Frank Grillo, Mel Gibson, Naomi Watts, Michelle Yeoh, but a special forces officer, get this, trapped in a Groundhog Day situation on the day of his death.
All right.
I know you love it.
Well, the last one convinced me.
Keep going. In theaters, we have Boogie, directed by Eddie Hyung, stars Taylor Takahashi as the titular character Boogie, who's a basketball phenom in Queens who is Asian. He dreams of playing in the NBA, but his parents want him to focus on college and career, and nobody believes in the Asian basketball star. Yeah. We also have in the theater Chaos Walking from director Doug Liman, stars Tom Holland, Daisy Ridley, and Mads Mikkelsen. In a world where there are no women and everyone can hear each other's thoughts, and they come as images. It is a sci-fi adventure with Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley.
That sounds scary.
It looks really good. It looks really interesting to me. And then lastly, in theaters and on Disney Plus, we have a film called Raya and the Last Dragon. This is an animated adventure of a young Asian warrior girl who is determined to find the last dragon in this strange realm that she lives in, and it looks pretty cool to me. It looks beautiful. Disney's calling this the return to their Disney princess.
Very cool.
Fair, which is very popular.
So we got too many movies.
We got a lot of movies. We're not going to cover them all that week. We'll get to it when we get to it. That's still another week or so away.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We'll figure that out, as well as the throwback, of course. Before we go any further, though, we have to thank our sponsor, the people who provide these movies that are in theaters for us. Marcus Theaters, the Palace Cinema here in Sun Prairie. Thank you for sponsoring the program. Thank you for continuing to support us. We remind you that the Palace has been allowed to open up some more seating areas and some more show time. So if any of these movies that we've talked about or are about to talk about interest you, you can go check them out there with all their safety protocols. Go on their app, check it out, see what they're doing and what they're showing, and how they're keeping you safe while you're watching a movie. So thank you to them. Sir, next week we have a few films, which is helpful because we also have a show. Yeah. So it helps to have movies.
Sweet, good. We've had shows without movies.
We have. I was just thinking today about the first week of the pandemic and how we had to scramble. The studio's closed, figure it at home. There's also no movies to watch. And we did a whole pandemic series on the fly.
I remember that.
That was a scary week of there's no movies.
Yeah.
And no studio.
And I kept on thinking, it's going to blow over.
No problem.
It didn't.
But next week, sir, we have the United States versus Billie Holiday. We also have, I believe, in theaters and on Amazon Prime, the Tom and Jerry movie. Yeah. Get ready. We have a movie called American Skin. And then we continue our music biopic series with one of the stranger ones that I'm going to say the strangest one of the group that we're going to be talking about is a biopic about one Mr. Bob Dylan. Oh. So I'm very excited for your thoughts on this movie.
All right.
And that's all going to happen next week. If you want to find out more from us, keep in contact with us, see what we're doing. You can find us on social media, though, on Facebook and Instagram, Real Reviews TV, at Real Reviews TV. So where to find us there and say hi to us. So we encourage you to do that. But until next week, when we talk about all kinds of fun movies, I'm Jamison.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.